Brown versus the Board of Education is not safe. This is by Jessica Washington. It's a good read, and basically we're talking about with the recent removal of Roe versus Wade, other cases that have set precedents could be and almost certainly will be overturned. One of them being Brown versus the Board of Education. So this was a landmark 1954 Supreme Court case in which the justices ruled unanimously that racial segregation of children in schools was unconstitutional. Seems like a no-brainer, but I guess 1954 we actually had to take this up to SCOTUS. It was one of the cornerstones of the civil rights movement. Established the precedent that separate but equal is absolute bullshit, and they are coming for the rest of it. I mean, in Clarence Thomas's judgment, he basically asks for candidate cases to overturn things like Obergefell, Plessy versus Ferguson, even sodomy laws. Like the government is officially trying to weasel its way back into your bedroom. And what really baffles me here is that he is a black man married to a white woman, and only 60 years ago, or 65 years ago, something like that, that was illegal. And now he's coming for the rights of others while cheerfully ignoring the fact that he is likely to be a victim as well, perhaps just not as quickly, and perhaps he won't be alive to see it. So, that makes it okay according to the right wing. So I think
and we also had one of the other articles that I was even reading, specifically in Louisiana, that was thrown down to the lower courts, is that even the gerrymandering and the disenfranchisement of, a predominantly black district is going to actually lose its voting power because they redrew the lines, and the SCOTUS said, "Oh no, that's okay." This is the issue that we're having now, that we are at a point where anything and everything that has precedent for years and years and years and years and years can just be thrown out of the window just because SCOTUS says. And I even remember specifically having a discourse long time ago when I was taking Constitution about, so with looking at the powers of the government between the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judiciary branch, who has the most power? And the way that it was supposedly written within our Constitution is that all of these particular branches have the same amount of power. They're supposed to keep each other in check, right? But that's not happening now, because, and a lot of it is because we have deadlock with our Congress, and the only thing that our president is doing is like, you need to pass this, you need to pass this, you need to pass this, and Congress is like, psha. That's literally what they said. I saw that in a decision when they were trying to go ahead and just go over some bills. Psha. So, and that's what we're dealing with right now. So we already seen erosions of protections with affirmative action from the 1964 64 Civil Rights Acts. We already seen erosion of protections when it came to Voters' Rights Act, and that was all SCOTUS. And we could actually see this being something that's even older than Roe be eroded as well. So even though, like I said, I don't necessarily want to become an alarmist or be an alarmist, but I'm being an alarmist because we're seeing it now. We're seeing actually the after effects coming up now. Hey,
Kitty. They're going further.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, now that we saw with trigger laws all of a sudden just go into effect, like right then, right there. Oh no, women are going to be fine. This is going to say the states' rights. I said, yeah, but states came over and made horrible, horrible bans, and even like we even see like even more so where states are saying that they're trying to make it to be criminalized if you happen to travel out of the state to go to another state to have an abortion. So it's and we're not seeing proper proper oversight to really keep these checks and balances and safe in sync with one another. It's those particular borders are being eroded piece by piece by piece. Who in the world knows what is coming out next? And I was supposed to introduce particular article, but the Dark Overlord took me. So I'm going to go ahead and give it to my colleagues so they can close us out. Cindy, I'm going to start with you, then Kelley, and then Nate.
Yeah, I think that the question is not whether they're going to go after all those rights. It's in what order they're going to
Right,
do it. That's
Yeah.
the
right.
that's the only question we have,
Mm-hmm.
basically. And you were talking about the 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 problem with passing laws and being able to work as a government. Uh, I suggest people to look into the story of a guy in Wisconsin who just decided that he was going to uh, stay where he was. Uh, and so you have those situations in many states. And as you said, there are no longer checks and balances. And you cannot trust the the states. You cannot trust much the federal government either. So I understand that so many people in the US right now are overwhelmed by everything that happens. They don't know if they will go to vote because they don't see the point. Uh, Democrats keep saying, "Yeah, vote for us in November, and we'll give women the right to have an abortion." But the system is so rigged by the Republicans right now with, as you said, gerrymandering and voter suppression that I don't think that's a viable solution. They should be trying something else. So, but yeah, as Kelly was saying, fight, get up and fight. You need to go vote first and then do more than that because that won't be enough. Voting won't be enough.
Agreed. Agreed.
Right.
Kelley?
You don't change you don't you don't change laws in the United States by political means to begin with. You do it by making a social impact. You make a majority of people change their minds, and then they start following or voting for politicians and putting them into power to take care of those ideas and follow through with them and codify them into law. So what we really need to do is go out. We need to talk to the people that don't believe in what we believe, and talk to them, like I said before, about things that are actually going to be impact their lives. Talk about economics. Talk about that one really bad law that everybody hates, whether they're on the left or the right, and get people that are on the opposite side of the aisle on a lot of these social issues over to your side, and then start changing their minds about the social issues. But get them on your side first.
Indeed. And finally, Nate from up north.
Nate from up north thinks that y'all just need to expand your Supreme Court because 9 people cannot possibly speak for a nation of 300 million. Like, I looked into this just a little bit. The UK has 12 on their Supreme Court. Now, they do dress like the Pope, but I'm not gonna I'm not gonna come down on them too hard because the Canadian Supreme Court dresses like Victorian Santa Claus. So I'll let their dress go. But the Germany, 16 justices, Norway, 20 justices, and the French have now I'm no legal expert, but the French have 6 chambers made up of 15 judges each.
Mm,
So, I
mm.
mean, do the math. Like, again, it seems like more voices is always a good thing. And 9 just it isn't enough. It's too easily manipulated.
Yeah. I I don't disagree with anything that you guys said. Hey, Kitty. And yeah, we definitely need a shaking up at the federal level down. But the only way that that's going to happen is if people make it happen. I was I was listening to a story this morning about actually more Gen Zers and millennials are actually starting to throw their hat into the legislative race, like on the federal level. And to be honest, like the only way that we actually was able to get any type of transformative change is one, the people demanded it, and two, we had a new set of ideals that was introduced into Congress, and that's something that we definitely need at this particular juncture, and and that's something that I hope that people would actually pick up on and do their due diligence to make it happen.